This is Izzy Dakota Jones, and this is the Outer Doing podcast, and I'll be talking to Jamie Macpherson, who's a well-known tattooist, tattoo artist that has done many of my tattoos, and great response. He's also a great musician himself, and he writes great songs, got great ideas, and he's also an artist, and he's sold a lot of his paintings and his drawings. So, you know, he's a very interesting character, very interesting dude, very nice man. And if you want a great tattoo and really unique, he's the guy to go to. But we're going to talk to Jamie and talk music, talk art, talk tattooing. We're going to talk the whole gamut. So hang in there. We'll be talking to Jamie. All right. So anyways, Jamie, let's talk about art, music, and everything going on in 2020. How's that sound? I know this show will be going into 2021, but like I'm sure that still at this point that stuff will still be going on for a while longer. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think there's going to be big changes coming. I think we're seeing some of these big changes. We're seeing a lot of people trying to get ahead of the curve and jump on the right bandwagon, so to speak.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that's 100% foolproof at this point.
Right.
But I've noticed, like in my own industry, tattooing, for example, you know, a lot of people have been getting more into merchandise, selling prints, selling T-shirts, stickers, and these kinds of things. And I think musicians are probably in the same boat where, you know, it's kind of like, you know, when you're on the road as a band, a big chunk of profit is when you're selling merch, selling T-shirts.
Exactly, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, now it's like you've got to treat the lockdown like being on the road in a sense, right?
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, you do. Yeah, because you're kind of stuck in some kind of place, you know, like you're on the road, you know, you go from town to town, but sometimes, you know, it's just like hotel to hotel, right? You know, or wherever you're staying, right? Room to room. And yeah, you're stuck, so how you going to communicate all that, you know, get your art out, you know, besides just playing. That's for sure. Like we were talking the last time, we were talking about streaming, right? Like streaming seems to be the big thing right now, right?
Yeah, streaming is huge, and it's interesting that a lot of people are trying to give the illusion of this live performance in front of them. I mean, it is a live performance, like social media fest and things like that. What's the other one? Online. What do they call those things?
Oh, I know what you're trying to say. I can't even remember right now, too. Yeah.
I think Facebook has one. I think it might just be social distance fest. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Yes.
And so we're seeing the virtual tip jars with people playing live for an audience, and they'll get featured on these social distance fests and things like that. And that's quite interesting to gain these little sort of circles of followers.
Yeah.
That are literally financially supporting them as they watch.
And
much like the format of YouTube, right? YouTube and you know, getting monetized or having Patreon site attached to it or something like this, you know. Exactly.
I mean, we're doing a show out in Mission coming up on Mnet and radio station and in the Valley, and they're a pretty big radio station, and they're charging $6 to watch us, you know, play online streaming, right? So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So it's like entry fee, kind of like going to a concert in a sense, right?
Yeah.
It's cheaper than going to a concert, actually.
It's cheaper than going to a concert or a bar. And then even, I think a couple of weeks ago, we did a show on this guy who lives out in Langley, a country music guy, but he has all kinds of music play at his jam shack. He has a studio built like a jam shack, and he streams live. And, you know, we played the other night with our blues rock band, and we had over 558 people.
Nice. That's with the Twitch, right?
Yeah, no, that was with the Saints, the Saints.
Oh, cool.
And, you know, it was like, wow. I mean, you know, we thought afterwards, we don't get that many people even in a bar sometimes, you know what I mean? So, now
it's an interesting point.
I know, and people all over the globe, too. Not just people in your own backyard, but people from different places like Nigeria, you know, and people listening to you in you know, Bulgaria, and you're going like, holy shit, like how am I reaching these people, right? But it's kind of interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no, that's just making a point there. Yeah.
No, I thought the same. I was going to say selling art over when the lockdown was really everything absolutely locked down. It was like, well, I better figure something out, and it was like maybe 5 or 6 different countries I was selling to at one point. People were buying my art and just paying me through PayPal, and it was a good feeling though. It's like, oh, cool, somebody in Australia is going to hang one of my paintings on a wall, and somebody, you know, a few people down in the States or in New York even, you know, that was a good feeling. Like, I've got art in New York now on someone's wall. You know,
that's great. Yeah, that's great, because like you're getting your expression out, Jamie. Like, you know, all over the place, right? All over the planet, and people are you know, because technology is so big now. I mean, it's kind of helping, and like you say, I think you're right. I think people are looking for they're looking for the new way around things now, you know, even with the pandemic, even when it ends. I think I agree with you. I hear that a lot. I don't think things are going to go back quite the same anymore, right? You know, I don't know.
No, but maybe it'll revive the old Monkees format, you know, where now they have to make a little mini sitcom about being in a band together, you know, but they're doing it all with their cell phones maybe, or something like this. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
People are going to have to be a bit more creative again, right? Maybe the music video is going to make a comeback. I mean, I guess it never really truly died. There's so many views on YouTube for music videos, but
yeah. I think you're right. And in your tattooing, I've noticed like tattoo, like people doing body art. It's just increasing. You know, like it seems to be. People are right into it, which I think is great, right? I mean, because I think that to me, it's like that's another way of self-expressing yourself, right?
Yeah, and we're in a time of borderline migration. I mean, let's face it, we do have people migrating left, right, and center. People leaving their possessions behind, taking off quickly, and things like that. Running from fires, running from crowds, this sort of thing. And when people are in this migration mode, they kind of material possessions become a little less important to them, and they think, well, what can I take with me? Well, I can take a tattoo with me anywhere. That's something nobody will ever take away, and it'll never be an extra load.
That's very cool.
You know, I think maybe this is part of the draw, you know.
That's really good. I never thought of it like that. That's really interesting. That's a neat way of looking at it. I mean, like, yeah, you're right. Then people don't have to take it. It's on them already, and the expression is there already. I mean, you know, I'm really surprised compared to even 10 years ago, where, you know, it was growing then, but now it just seems to be, you know, everybody is expressing himself somehow in tattoos. I mean, like on body art, like, I mean, I'm looking at like my other job where I work in a hospital. I think every second person has got a tattoo. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like 10, 20 years ago. That wasn't very cool to be doing that in a hospital, right? They frowned on stuff like that, and now it's the norm.
It is, and it just became legal in Japan of all times.
Oh, it did, because it was illegal for so long. That's right, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is interesting too. I mean, you know, we're seeing big changes like this happen right now as well, like the legalization of marijuana, for example, in Canada.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a hardware store today, and what a surreal thing to pick up a big box that is for literally growing your own organic cannabis, it says on the box, and the whole box is covered in pot leaves and has a picture of a bud that you could grow yourself on the back. It was ridiculous. This is home hardware, you know. It's like
wow.
It's a different world.
Yeah. Well, look at it. I mean, funny you said like 20 years ago that would have been not even thought of, right? I mean, you couldn't even get there, right? I mean, if you were smoking pot 20 years ago, walking down the street, you're going to end up in jail. You know, like it's just the facts. Now doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Yeah, and when you think about these freedom fighters, you know, who went to jail for weed and who were the rebels for the cause, so to speak, a lot of their argument not just the medicinal side, but the other side was about hemp and how important hemp is. Why aren't we? Now that it's legalized in Canada, why aren't we taking advantage of the hemp industry? Why aren't we making plastics? Why aren't we making bags that are biodegradable out of hemp that are stronger than plastic ones?
Well, you know what is funny you say that. Like, I guess it must be 10 years ago. It could be a little less or more. When we were touring a lot down in the States, playing a lot in Seattle, I met a promoter down there, and he had a punk band himself, and what's his name? I'm trying to remember. It started with a V. It was a different name. Anyways, he also booked a lot of clubs in Seattle, so I got to know him really well, and we ended up he had a big house, a band house, and he would let the bands come and stay at his house, which was like it was like what a party house, right? It was crazy. But anyways, he also was on the board of directors for the Hemp Fest in Seattle. And he got us on the Hemp Fest. So when nice. So we went down there and played, and so I mean, it was super hard to get across the line. I mean, we had all our paperwork done, but it wasn't it wasn't a big deal getting the paperwork done. But when we got there, like Washington State didn't care about it. They were starting to relax on rules, but it was a federal. We're crossing the border, and it's a federal thing. So we're stuck with that. But anyways, the bottom line is we did get across, did play the show. But what I was surprised was the border guards are going, all you guys are going to go down there and get really stoned out of your mind. They're all going to be smoking pot, and you guys are going to get ripped. How are you guys going to get back home? You guys are going to be all ripped. You can't drive. We're going to come after you guys for that. And and we went, no. We said, don't worry about that. We're there to play a show. And you know what? And when we got there, Jamie, the topics down there was all about the hemp. It was not about legalizing marijuana. It wasn't about anything. It was about educating people on hemp, like around World War I and II. Hemp was really used a lot, and it was talking about hemp, and it was talking about what else? They were talking about hemp, and of course they're talking about their rights. They're because they're real big on their rights, right, down there, and they were talking big time on their right to be able to grow hemp, their right to be able to grow marijuana and smoke marijuana. They were talking about their rights and talking about hemp. So yeah, hemp. Yeah, I don't know why we're not doing more up here, but
I mean, I think it would patch up the ozone layer, even this stuff. If all it is we need more filters for the world.
Yeah.
Our ozone layer to get better, and we can't plant trees quick enough. Well, why aren't we planting something that grows insanely quickly that gives us the same effect as a bunch of pine trees, a whole forest of hemp? Think about that. It could. I mean, it would take over all these burnt down areas too. Maybe it would burn up quickly. I don't know. Maybe there's bad sides to it, but it just seems like there's too many positives that go along with hemp, just as use of the plant itself.
Well, same goes with like marijuana, medical marijuana, right? I mean, how long were people toting that, and it took such a long time for people finally to wake up and see that there's a positive response to it, right?
Yeah.
It takes time, right? I guess it takes time to get people to that point, like you're saying, where I think you're right, where there's a tipping point, right? Things are, you can see it. I think the pandemic is creating a tipping point. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think so.
Yeah, you're right. There's a desperation, and there's a fierceness and unpredictability about the world right now that anybody could snap at any time. For all you know, the people are wild out there right now. It is Wild West right now, But I also believe in some good people that are able to passively resist all this stuff and not fight fascism with fascism, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is where artists fit in. This is where artists and musicians the champions because, you know, they were an alternative to smashing each other in the face. Even though this happens in concerts all the time, there was still, for everybody else, there's alternatives to getting to that point. You know, like playing a violent video game, for example, to stop yourself from being a violent person, maybe, right?
Right.
Not the other way around, how they used to blame Ozzy Osbourne on all these suicides and stuff, right?
Yeah, because they were afraid of people with any kind of power than themselves. I think that was a big thing. I think that's always been a struggle. I think it's all ever since I've been on this planet. I think the struggles are the same in the sense that, you know, like you're touching on a good point. I think they're the same. I just think they just look different. You know what I mean? Like they're just different. We're in a different time period. So, you know, I don't think the struggles have changed all that much. I think it's just a different time period, right?
Yeah, it really is, and we don't have to be necessarily politically accurate or politically correct even, and this is where people are a bit tiptoey right now. I feel like artists more than ever need to be expressing themselves more than ever. And it doesn't need to be as specific as everybody thinks it is, maybe. It just needs to, it's going to reflect our time no matter what it is we're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But whether we're having a political huge point or just doing it for art's sake, for the sake of creating, it's still going to somehow reflect this time. And I think we need to kind of get less hung up on this type of thing in a sense, you know?
Yeah.
And just creating and I don't know. I do stand by, though, it's part of passive resistance.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. It is. It is.
Way of fighting.
Yeah, it is, and it's like you said, there's a tipping point coming. I sense it too at some point in time. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like I had a friend the other day, a couple weeks ago, that I worked with, that I grew up with, and she made a good comment. She goes, "I wonder how everybody's going to feel when it's 2021 this time." And I says, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, you know, 2020 has been such a bizarre time, and things are so screwed up. I wonder if everybody's going to take a big sigh of relief, or they're going to wonder what's around the corner in 2021. I says, "You know, that's a good point. I never thought of it." She goes, "I really want to know how people are feeling on New Year's Eve on 2021. You know, the symbolic of it all."
I want to time travel to 2022. I think 2022 is going to be a great year. And something about these tunes has always been good in my life, actually.
Right on.
It's been very, very interesting.
I think you're right. I think 2022 would be better in a sense, because I think if we're going to come out of this pandemic, which I'm pretty sure we are, you know, in the next six to 9 months, you know, I think I think, you know, we'll be coming around to around this time. You and I are talking. We'll have to phone each other up and see where we're at that point, because I have a funny feeling around this time next year there's going to be some drastic changes. You know, some stuff we're going to go back to, and some by that point we'll be going back to a lot of things, maybe like live events and stuff again will come back in. And I think there'll be more of a trust factor there. But I think they'll have, you know, precautions, you know, for people set in. Still have. I think we're still going to have plexiglass. Trust me. And I think we're still going to have masks for a while too.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
I think I don't think the vaccine is going to solve everything, mind you, but I think it's going to help. You know, it's going to change things, right?
Yeah, public etiquette is kind of where it's almost become. I mean, when you think about Asia in general, they've been wearing masks out in public for a good 10 years probably now.
Well, you know,
on a regular basis.
I couldn't believe it, Jamie. Funny we talk about this for a second. I the other day went into Shoppers Drug Mart and London Drugs today. Everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody, and there's no protocol for it. Everybody's doing it, and I didn't have mine on because, you know, I work in a hospital, so it's like I'm so tired of wearing it, you know, like I got to wear it all day at work, and so I don't.
Now you're breaking the rules in their minds when they're.
I know. I'm the rebel, right? So I actually went home and got my mask the other day.
Yeah.
I went back and put it on.
My master for a second.
Yeah, because I felt bad. I just felt really bad. I just went like, but everybody's doing it. and I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of going, oh, this is kind of cool. People are taking, they're taking heed to all this. Not like our cousins down in the States. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm hoping the no theater masks come back in style, like in Tokyo, like Edo period or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Until they had to make that illegal because there's people gambling under aliases and things like that and getting away with it. Nobody knew.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Unreal. So Jamie, before we wrap up and stuff, tattooing. How long have you been doing tattooing for now?
I've been tattooing since '99.
Wow. Yeah.
What's that? 21.
21 years. Yeah. Wow.
But legal drinking age in the U.S. of A.
Yeah. That's unreal. I can't still get over that. For a country that's got and look at the pot stuff now. Now that's changing left, right, and center down there too now, right?
Yeah, it's like, what do they call that, federally or wherever.
Well, they're going to get there federally too. You watch. That's going to change within the next. Talk about 2022. I really think by that time they're going to legalize it, like countrywide.
They're going to have to because we're going to need hemp to fill in the holes. I think in the planet in the scorched forests.
Yeah.
It'd be a great way to rebuild quickly.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
We need to build giant rainforests if we want to keep this planet breathing good.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to let you go and get back to your kids and stuff, and
cool, man.
And I'll be talking to you in the next couple of weeks. Anyways, I'm going to set something up for December to come and see you. Talk about getting work done.
Oh, nice. Sounds good, man.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, you take care, and I'll be talking to you in a couple of weeks, Jamie.
Sounds good, Joe. Always great chatting with you.
Thank you. Good chatting to you, man. Take care.
Take care. You too.
Bye. Well, that was Jamie Macpherson. Very interesting conversation, guys. And I hope you enjoyed that conversation. So I'm Izzy Dakota Jones, and this is the Art of Doing podcast 2020. Take care. 2021, I'm sorry. Wow, behind a year.